I love the flexibility there is on how we homeschool. We don't all have to do it the same. If you want to be like school at home, you can. You want to unschool? You can. This is one of the beautiful aspects of homeschooling. Now, there are certainly things that we do in our homeschooling that are like normal. And there are things that, we don't do. This is how we roll. Hi, and welcome to Learning Life, and thank you so much for joining me today. And can I also just say, thank you so much for your likes, your subscribes, and your comments, and being part of this Learning Life. Now, I will have to say, I am often asked, what do you do for this? And what do you do for that? As they're trying to find out how I homeschool and what we're doing and how we might go about it. And many times I have to answer and say, we don't. We don't actually do that in our homeschooling. And sometimes I get these look, we've made choices about how we're going to do it. And that means not doing some of the standard things that might seem a little counter to what society or what schools are saying. But we're choosing to not live in a school fixated way that says what my children must learn and when. Because it doesn't matter, you're in different states, you're in different counties, whatever it is, each sort of school system does things a little bit differently. And they're saying, but why are we looking to that, instead of looking at where our children are at? So there are certainly some things that we don't do when it comes to homeschooling. Every subject, every day. We don't do every subject every day. Nope. It's not language arts, math, science, history, whatever else that needs to be done and done every day. In fact, we don't consistently do every subject. History and science are actually not daily occurrences for us. We're not following a curriculum for those two subjects. And, some days we might not do math because they're really not into it, but we'll do 2 lessons another day as we sort of catch up or we feel like it, or, where we're at. Look, I'm a huge proponent of skills-based learning. So I really focus for my girls in our homeschooling on the skills that are needed for their age. And then I let their interests lead us in what we are learning. When they are interested in science, we do science. Science for days, science for hours. When they're interested in history, we do history. Now, that is not to say we will never do them more regularly. I love history. I love history. And I want my girls to discover all those ancient worlds and even our modern history, for it's important for us to not repeat some of the mistakes of the past. But I'm not going to force things on them that they're not interested in, because all I will get is pushback. Follow what other schools are covering content-wise. We live near a couple of schools, but we don't actually follow what they're learning curriculum-wise, and subject-wise. Oh, should we be learning Georgia history? Whoops. No, not really. We've chosen not to do it as my girls are not interested in it. As I said, when we do interest-based learning, oh my goodness, that excitement comes out and my girls get more excited about doing that. They're really not looking to do any sort of set formalized learning. And I've seen that when I really try to move them into a subject that their friends are studying at school, I get this pushback. And I'm happy to not have that pushback, because I'm happy for them to learn what they want to learn, as long as they are developing the skills that they need. And so what do they need to do? And we can match the content to the skills rather than here's the content and try to get the skills in there. Have a set time to do school. Did they start crafting right after breakfast and are so engaged in it, even though I want to start doing schoolwork? Oh, well, let them craft. They are learning. Look, in my mind, I think it is best to get our learning done early, because then it's out of the way. That's how I like to do it, Let's get it done early and then it's out of the way. And then we have more informal learning through our play and crafting and all of those different things. But that's my mind, okay? We don't actually have a set time to do school because sometimes big things come up. like crafting. Oh, look, we've got a new cardboard box and look at all of the things that we can do with this. And then there might be the call of the hot glue gun. It really is like it's a call and it's come, make something with me. Maybe there's coloring pages that need to be completed, or maybe it's the new noodle bar cafe that has been set up so that all the plushies can come and enjoy some fantastic noodles. Maybe it's nice weather and they should be out there like with their rollerblades or their scooters, or maybe it's raining and they should be down the back following the water to see what treasures they could find. Like, why should I stop this imaginative, interactive, creative play to say, hey, let's sit down and do some reading because it's time? Honestly, that can wait. It's totally okay if we do not get any of our like to-do list, like our school list done like before the afternoon, or even like sometimes we don't even get it done until like just before dinner, but it got done. But learning has happened in so many other ways throughout the day. So we don't have a set time for schooling. Have a dedicated homeschool space. We don't have a big house that enables us to have a dedicated homeschool space, like our own room that's set up and that's where we go. I'm 100% fine with this. I am not going to like upgrade the size of my house so that I can have a schoolroom. I actually really like the freedom to be able to learn wherever. So we have a basket with our materials and it has the girls' Chromebooks and like a box of pencils, erasers and sharpeners. And we learn where they want to learn. Maybe that is at the kitchen table. Maybe it's in their bedroom or the living room. Sometimes it's outside on a blanket under a tree. And sometimes it's snuggled up in mummy's bed. We learn where they want to learn, and not having that dedicated school space is actually a wonderful thing. Focus on handwriting and spelling. This might seem a little out there for those that know I am a teacher because, like handwriting is important, spelling is important. Well, yes, but I don't actually focus on it right now. They're still young. I have found that when I make it more formal and, this is what we need to be doing, let's do handwriting, let's do spelling, it's a giant suck. And it really just takes us a while to get back on track. But we continue to read and we continue with creative writing. And as that happens, their spelling and their handwriting will get there. As long as they can physically write with a pen or a pencil, I'm fine. They can sign their name. They can write. It's not the neatest. But with all the technology that enables us to do like talk to text or just record our stories, it can be hard to say, this is what you have to do. And if you don't do it, you are failing. Your handwriting has to be a certain level or you are failing. Now, that's a message that is out there and it's spread, and we don't want that verbiage in our family. Do I want them to have good handwriting and to be able to spell? Yes. I have good handwriting and I can spell and I like handwriting and I like spelling. But I do think that it is important to wait and when we see it, because again, if I force it to a point where I get so much pushback, it's not helpful. I'm not giving in to them. Okay. I want you to know that I'm not giving in to them by saying we're not focusing on all of these things because you just push back. But I am choosing in our homeschooling to ignite a lifelong love of learning. And that is the most important thing to me. And when they are excited to learn, they will. Like when they want to write a letter to their friend, it's amazing how handwriting and spelling is suddenly important and they will press into it. And then they back off for a little bit. And then it's the next thing that they want to do. And so we are still developing and we're still growing in it, but I do not focus on it. Pushing our kids to stay on track. As a society, we are pushing our children ahead earlier and earlier. And this is something I struggle with in so many ways. I do not believe that we need to be pushing children so they are far ahead of what standards say that they should be. And we're seeing that no, we should be reading before kindergarten now. And the earlier that we're reading, the better. When actually it's not. And you only have to do some of the studies to see when our brains are ready for this. What's wrong with letting children learn at their own pace? This is important. Now, I know that there are developmental things like, this is the right time to be, holding a pencil or to be cutting in a straight line. Those sort of things. We do have that development side that we see with the brain. But then when it comes to these other things reading. Now we have to be reading like at 4 instead of like 6 or 7 when it's like more natural. Like, who's decided that certain things need to be done at certain ages? And this is what we learn here, and this is what we learn here, and this level of math is here. I mean, as long as we are moving forward and getting better at what we're doing, that's the most important thing. My husband and I don't force our children to stay on track with what the school system says that they should be. Again, every state is different. Every country is different. We've talked about it. We're a tri-national family. And so you start school later in Germany. And even like Australia has like different standards. But we talk about with their girls about learning and about like growing in that. We talk about where their friends are at. But we never try to say, hey, have you noticed that so-and-so is doing this and you're not? You should really be where they are. It's not helpful. I don't want that comparison. All I want for them is to enjoy learning and to practice and to get better. We keep saying, we do it, we practice, we level up, and we go deeper, we get better, we level up. And some things it's going to be faster, and other things it's going to be slower. And I even tell my girls, don't compare with each other even though you're twins. Do have one that's better at reading, but the other one's better at math. But let's not compare because both of my girls learn in such different ways. And so that's what we need to focus on. Let's focus on the skills. Let's focus on how we are learning and let's level up. Yes, I do have my girls sit standardized tests at the end of each school year, but this is not looking at how advanced they are. That's not my aim. It's not looking at how behind they are. If they are, that's okay. But what I look is to see what holes they might have and what I need to focus with them on the coming school year. Personally, do I care if it says that they're reading 2 grade levels ahead? No. Am I really caring about that they're exactly where they should be or might be a little bit behind? Honestly, well, maybe just a little bit, but honestly, no. I do care to see that there is a progression each year that shows that they are learning, that they are growing, and that they are developing skills. But I'm not going to force them to stay on track with what our school system says that they should be at. I want them to learn at their own pace. So these are some of the things that we don't do in homeschool. And I know that might cause some anxiety for you. I'm okay with that. We all have to do what works for us. I say it often, do what works for you. And so for us, that means not having a set schedule, not following what the schools are doing, really not pushing and leaning into that skills-based learning. In that, we have a good homeschool life. And to me, that is what is important. Well, thank you so much for watching today and being part of this learning life. You can help to get these videos out there. Let's spread this. You can do that by becoming a champion. So you can check that out at patreon.com or check out my website that has that information and some other information there as well and other fun things. And that is LearningThis.Life.